2013, we were in the Supreme Court on Goa mining, and this started there. The Supreme Court asked us a stark question: how do we implement intergenerational equity? Intergenerational equity, I'm sure most of you are scratching your heads. We were at that time. We had no idea, so we tried to look around the world and see, what is best practice, what do others do. It turned out that intergenerational equity is a really simple idea. At its core, it says that whatever we, the current generation, inherit, we need to make sure our children and future generations also inherit. So let me give you a simple example. Suppose you inherit some gold jewelry from your parents. Now, across most of India, it's understood that we can sort of wear the jewelry and use it, but we have an obligation to make sure our children or our nephews and nieces inherit the jewelry. But the gold jewelry is a little bit of a headache. It can be stolen, so your choices are to dig a hole in the ground or put it into a bank locker, which then becomes an expense. So you decide, let me sell the jewelry, take the money, buy a piece of land. As long as I keep the land properly, I can enjoy the crop or the income, and future generations will inherit the land and they can enjoy the crop and income. So this is intergenerational equity. Now it turns out under the Constitution of India, minerals subsoil minerals by and large are owned by the state governments as a trustee on behalf of the people and especially future generations. So the Goa government is responsible for implementing intergenerational equity with minerals. So will future generations of Goa inherit the minerals that we did? Let's look at a little case study on this. We looked at 8 years of mining. We took the data from SESA Goa, today's Vedanta, SESA Goa's annual reports, and the thought experiment was whatever they sold the mineral for, we as Goans, as owners of the minerals, could have sold it for the same value and asked SESA Goa to be a contractor. They would rightly have charged us all their expenses, plus they would want a profit. They're in business. So we applied a 20% after-tax return on capital employed. This is an extremely generous return, but we didn't want to have an argument that we were anti-capitalist or something. Now the total exported in those, we took the SESA Goa numbers and then used the volume numbers from the industry body to arrive at the total Goa numbers. So over the 8 years, we exported 88,000 crores. The total expense, including the reasonable profit, was 36,000 crores. So the value of the mineral that got exported from our perspective, as in the Goan perspective, we exported 51,000 crores or 52,000 crores of ore. So two questions. First is, how much should the Goa government have received? Well, the logical answer is they should have received 100%. If the Goan government is the owner and the value of the ore is 100, they should have got 100. The second question, this is our country. This is our legal system. These are audited financials. How much do you think the Goa government actually received for 52,000 crores of minerals? We looked at the Goa government budget statements, and this is what it told us. The Goa government got less than 5% of the value of its minerals. The people of Goa, and especially the future generations of Goa, lost 49,000 crores over these 8 years. And where did this go? A lot of it showed, and basically what we were doing was selling minerals worth 100 for 5. The miners were showing that excess basically as a profit, on which the center imposed income tax, and you can see that amount. There's also a bit of export duty there. And the remaining amount is the profit after tax, which is on top of the earned profit of 5,400 crores. An excess profit of 31,000 crores was made by the miners, which was basically property belonging to us. Now, let me give you a couple of comparisons to understand this 49,000 crore loss. In those 8 years, the entire revenues of the state of Goa was 27,000 crores. So you can see 27,000 crores was far below the loss that we had suffered. And 27,000 crores was also far below the amount that the mining companies captured unfairly. And you can understand the political implications of something like this. Now, I want to point out a couple of other things. This loss to the Goans is, first of all, a loss to every single Goan equally. So when you divided it across all the Goans, each and every Goan in the state of Goa over those 8 years lost 3.5 lakhs. Each and every person. So whether it is the poorest person or the richest person, everybody lost 3.5 lakhs. And a few people got very rich. This is clearly looting economics. This is not capitalism. Because the principle of capitalism is property rights. If we own the mineral, we should have the money when we sell the mineral. Now, how do we resolve this? How do we try and change this? And Goa Foundation and all of us really looked at what is the best practice around the world, and we've condensed it into 5 simple principles, which we believe are both practical, legal, economic, and follow many other kinds of systems. So let me take you through this proposal. First, the minerals of this minerals are owned by the state of Goa on behalf of the people and especially future generations. Second, since we have inherited the minerals, we must make sure future generations inherit either the minerals or their full value. Third, if we decide to sell our minerals, we must ensure zero loss. We must get the full value of the minerals. Fourth, we must save the entire value of the minerals for our future generations, and we are recommending a Norway-style fund, a future generations fund. And specifically, we are asking for this to be managed by the National Pension Scheme, because they have a very clean structure to make sure that the funds are invested in low-cost index tracking funds, which will earn the market rate of return, and it will be very difficult for any politician or asset manager in the private sector to get a higher return. And lastly, we own the mineral, we own the fund, we own the income from the fund. So distribute this income equally to all as a citizen's dividend, a right of ownership. So just quickly, the minerals belongs to everybody, especially future generations. We are effectively selling our minerals. We must get its full value, save the value for our children in a new income earning asset. And since we all own the income from that asset, distributed equally to all as owners. How does this change things? We think there are 7 basic pathways. The first is government is essentially now sustainable. We are not taking 51,000 crores, losing 49,000 crores, getting 2,400 crores of royalty, calling that royalty income and consuming that, not even saving that. This will lead to a much higher savings rate, because all that money now is converted into financial assets, which will then go into the overall Indian economy and will enable growth. These are extremely long-term funds. The fund, as I explained, because it will be invested in an index tracking kind of a methodology, it would earn the market rate of return. And as we all understand, this is almost impossible for individual politicians or asset managers to meet. The citizens' dividend is nothing but a universal basic income. To give you a sense of scale, if the state of Goa had taken that 52,000 crores, saved it in a permanent fund, and earned just 3% real income and distributed that equally, today each person in the state of Goa would get 1,000 rupees of a dividend, each person 1,000 rupees of dividend every month. A family of 4 today would get 4,000 rupees a month. This would also create improved governance because there's less money which is going to politicians, less easy money going to politicians to spend. So they would have to improve the quality of either their investment and then go to the public and explain to them, we are delivering good services, please pay taxes. It would also stem the overall increase in inequality, and as now many people have understood, including the IMF, rising inequality tends to act as a drag on the economic performance. If there is broad spread prosperity, the economy grows faster. And lastly, this is an obviously kind of a fair kind of a system. Nobody likes it. Each stakeholder wants a little bit more. The politicians want more, the miner wants more, the mining employees want more, the mining dependent wants more. Even NGOs, we do want the government to take some money and use it for our favorite cause. But in totality, if any of this is done, what we're essentially doing is stealing from our children, taking their inheritance and saying, we want to spend it. And that is frankly an enormously immoral kind of act. And finally, the criticality of this is that what is happening is when we take minerals out, we are taking the royalty and calling it revenue. Politicians love revenue and voters also love revenue from minerals because their taxes go down, they get higher subsidies. But if this kind of thinking continues, every last bit of mineral in the world will be extracted and consumed and civilization will collapse. That is the problem. Here is the solution. Let me end here. Thank you.
Wonderful, Rahul. That was very, very interesting and very clear also. You have basically developed a model that takes the UBI a step forward and improves on the Alaska model substantially, the Alaska model for oil. You have developed a specific model which includes a market intervention in form of a fund and a perpetuity of income, which is great because the management and the ownership of division and distribution is no longer in the hands of a few, but is actually in an institutional structure, which is a index fund. So wonderful.